I'd like to just thank all of you for joining us now. We have a wonderful treat in store. My name is Dr. Will Tuttle, and I'm just honored to introduce Joel Andrews, who is a renowned musician, composer, harpist, really a master harpist. He was just telling me he's been playing the harp his entire life, and about for the last 40 years he stopped playing the typical harp, as a professional harpist, playing concerts and weddings and things, and went on a spiritual path inward and connected with his own inner intuitive ability to connect with higher energies, and then to bring those higher energies through his music and to bless others, to bless the world, to bless individuals, to create a healing power through music. And he's been doing this for 40 years. He told me that you won't know it, but he's 81 years old, and it's the healing energy, he says, that keeps him so young. And he does individual set readings for people. He travels. He's based in this area, right down in near Mendocino, but he's still traveling around the United States, Canada. He's been to countries all over Europe. He's been to Australia and Japan. He's really someone who's devoted his life to bringing healing energy through music and to exploring how we human beings actually can vibrate at a higher level and live in more in harmony and in peace on this planet. And so I think he's really one of the most well-known pioneers, I think, really of our time, of healing energy and of healing music. And I was just actually reading not too long ago that even the AMA, believe it or not, the AMA recently came out with a statement that appropriate music can be healing for people. Isn't that amazing? I mean, if they say it, it has to be really obvious. And I think we can thank, honestly, people like Joel Andrews, who have been doing the hard work all these years. I know it's not hard work, it's a great joy, but who have been doing the work to actually live this, to actually create healing energy through music, and have cases where people have had healings, psychological healings, physical healings of different types through the vibration of music, because we are all vibrations. Music is a vibration, so it just goes straight in and touches us at a deep level. How many of you in here use music in some way consciously for meditation or healing or spiritual development? Yeah, so you're in the right place, and we're with a real master here. So I'd like to just turn it over now to my friend Joel Andrews. Thank you.
That's one of the best introductions I've ever had, and that's because he does somewhat the same thing. He's been working as a healer, traveling all over in the unity circuit and the religious science circuit. Okay, well, it's a great pleasure to be with you. This conference is so exciting. One of my missions is to keep people calm for quality, slow down for quality. But that's hard because I'm so turned on by what's going on here. Anyway, I should begin by giving you by the way, I'm here to serve you, so if you have a question, please stop me. I'm more interested in serving you than giving you all this information. I should begin with a thumbnail sketch of my life, and then I'm going to share with you some of the testimonies of the clients that I've served, all kinds of miracles. And then I'm going to play for you, channel some music for you. I can't demonstrate this work. It has to be real. So there have to be real people who are up for healing, and then the masters will come through. And then maybe we'll have time to work with some of your responses. So I'll try to make this short. As he said, I started playing the harp at 9, and I did everything you can imagine as a professional harpist, concerto with orchestra, chamber music. I worked with dancers, poets, all kinds of things. Played jazz, played for births. That's an interesting experience. I even now have a cassette that I sell, Harmonious Childbirth. So this developed for 30 years. And toward the end of it, I began to be guided to have the idea that perhaps the highest destiny of music and all the arts is to heal, to raise consciousness, to bring peace, harmony, love, upliftment, ecstasy, and in some case, spiritual illuminations. So I began to get that idea, and I know it was under higher guidance. I know that now. So then, in 1971, I set up a concert in New York because I thought I ought to be a concert harpist. So I set up, raised some money and set up this concert in Town Hall. Everything went wrong with the concert. I'm sure you've heard stories like this. They lost my harp at Kennedy Airport. Can you imagine losing something like that? I think it was under higher guidance. Anyway, I freaked out because I was proving myself, and I was playing the most difficult program I could possibly put together. I got through the program and I got a fairly decent review. After the concert, I decided, because I'd already been, being guided to do healing work. So after that concert, I decided I'd rather play for one person at a time, if it could be deep healing, than 5,000 people for entertainment. So I just went like this. My whole life changed. These ascended masters came to me, these masters in spirit, and they showed me how to hear their music. And they trained me in a number of ways. I had a series of illuminations, changed my whole life. I remember one was what you might call a touch of cosmic consciousness, where I was in ecstasy for a month. If I looked in a person's eyes, I knew everything about them, but I loved them, and I knew they were divine. So it changed my whole life, and I started doing past life readings with the harp, where the lives would come through in music, and then I would ask to see, and I would see where they were on the earth, what they were doing, whether they were male or female. And they would come through in a series, like lives are in series. And we would go back to the beginning of the present series, and it could be, it could be 10,000 BC, it could be 250,000 BC, whatever what the beginning was. And then 2 or 3 lives coming up to the present, and then there'd be music for the present life to try to finish it. And then it would go all the way to possible ascension, which is possible for any of us. Okay? Well, I did 1,000 of these, and I suddenly realized that they were all exquisite. I thought, how can this be? So I asked my masters, and when I'm sincere, I always get the answer. We can always get the answer if we're sincere. We're supposed to be able to have the answer. So I asked that question, and they said, well, of course, that's how we see you. You're divine beings. You're going through this learning process. Everything that's happening in your life here is for learning or spiritual growth, but you're fundamentally divine. So I had read this, in my spiritual studies, that we're all divine. But it was demonstrated to me in my own work. You see? I said, you mean if I took anybody off the street and I did a reading for them, it would be exquisite? They said, of course. And so these beings come with such love and such respect for you and such wisdom, you wouldn't believe it. But it's a free will plan, and they have to honor our free will. Always. So they don't come into your life unless you ask them. But right now, in these challenging times, the angels, the masters are right there, wanting to work with us. But we have to call them. Okay, so many, many miracles. Many different kinds of miracles traveling all over the world. And the most incredible things. I wish I could tell it all to you. But what I want to do is to just read you some of the testimonies of my clients. In other words, get out of the way and let my clients tell you what they experience. This is my first book, published in 1989. I need my glasses and they're in my coat. Where's my coat? Down? Aren't they on this side? No, here they are. Okay. So just a few of these to give you a rough idea. These are unsolicited comments. I listen to your tape at least once a day and get lots of creative energy from it. Actual physical rushes like electricity for hours afterwards. The vibrations not of this world bring peace, harmony, and healing. I am immeasurably helped. I cry listening to my tape because it's so full of love. Something that has eluded me my whole life. The music reminded me that love is my being and helped me reclaim it. I mean, these things are so high, like we can learn from these things, you know. It was as if I had taken a spiritual vitamin that gave me a certainty, strengthfulness, and innocent wholeness. Having one's sole purpose put into music, now this would be an individual channeling. Having one's sole purpose put into music and words is indescribable, a great encouragement to say the least. It is uncanny. Your tapes have thrown me into a deep trance, and I have realized perfect relaxation and attunement. I feel levitated off the floor, and the pain of scar tissue from many cancer surgeries is greatly alleviated. I mean, you know, I started getting these, and I thought, I can't do that. You know, I'm pretty intelligent, and I'm learning a lot from this, but I can't do that. You know, that's the higher forces working through me that does that. Whatever you want to call them. I'm getting very positive feedback from my mentally ill patients. I'm thrilled with the results. Bless you. Okay. Now I want to tell you a couple longer ones. There are all kinds here. This took place in Berkeley. A man came into an apartment of a friend. The friend wasn't there, but he went in and the radio was on. I was being interviewed on the radio and I was playing. He sat down in a chair, he listened to the music, and he said he was taken out of his body, loved, nurtured, put back in his body, without the polio pain he'd felt for 20 years. And no remission. You know, I wasn't even there, you know. He was just hearing the music. But the music was a connection with the higher forces. See? There was a lady who had to take 7 grains of thyroid a day to keep her thyroid in balance. She heard that I had a tape for thyroid. She lay down, listened to it. She was totally healed. No remission. She went to the doctors. They tested her. They said, well, this is impossible. But if it's working, go ahead. Sometimes they get mad, you know. Anyway, then one of the great miracles was I was channeling, I worked with the Ascended Masters, and I was channeling for the violet flame, which is a very powerful healing ray that any of us can call on at any time. I use it, you know, all the time. When we're on the road, we have to sleep in these rooms. We don't know what happened in the room the night before, you know, so I have to cleanse it. I call forth the violet flame to flame through this room, transmuting all negativity into positivity. I do the bed, you know, transmute the negativity in the bed. And that's very important. Otherwise, we can wake up in the morning feeling very strange because we're sensitive, you know, we're opening. So that's the violet flame. So there was a group of meditators in Florida who wanted me to channel for the violet flame. So they get a studio and we go in there and we're meditating and they're saying these affirmations, calling forth the violet flame. And they're calling forth the violet flame to cleanse me and the harp. And right when they're saying it, I mean, everything's silent in the recording studio. And the engineers are sitting there, and all of a sudden there's this whoom, like this. And afterwards I say, well, what was that? And they said, we don't know what that was. We were sitting here, everything was quiet, and then our needles went all the way over. Well, something went through the sound equipment, and you know what that was. That was the violet flame clearing out all the rock and roll sounds that were in that equipment. So I have the violet flame on tape. Right in the middle of that, we were called outside because there was a cloud cover right over the recording studio. And we were called outside, and here was this circular hole in the clouds right over the recording studio. And I knew what that was because the masters had told me that sometimes if they're doing very powerful work, they have to step it down gradually so it won't hurt us. And when they did that funnel of the violet flame coming down, it burned a hole right through the clouds. Clouds aren't that solid, you know, just water, moisture. Years later, I met a lady who was there, and we were talking about this, and she said, well, do you remember the rainbows in the hole? I said, no. I said, were there rainbows in the hole? She said, oh, yes, a number of us saw. We looked in that hole, and here were these rainbows. Well, you know, there we are. So many, many miracles like this. So I think I should move on. I'd love to share more of these with you. Let's see, there was one other one. I think we should move ahead. But I have 500 letters of testimonials of this kind of thing from the people who have experienced miracles. And so anything is possible. That's what I tell my audience. I say, right now, any healing is possible for you. If you have something you're working on. Yes, I'm listening. You can see what that might mean for you.
Get on board.
So where was I? Let's see.
People get ready.
Oh, yes. If you have something that needs to be healed, just think on it and offer it up to these higher beings. Okay? What time is it? Yeah, this is good. This is perfect. So, let's do that. So, you want to sit up straight. In order to make the most of it, sit up straight in a meditative posture without your legs and arms crossed, because that closes your circuits. If you want to share with me, you want to be like this. Maybe take 2 or 3 deep breaths and let out any negativity you might be having. And ask your body to be super sensitive to these sounds so that you can take them in and they can do their work. And then you might reach out from your hearts to these ascended masters that work through me and angels. Okay. And then maybe part of you kind of watch what you might be seeing, because that's symbolic. You know, in this state of listening to the music, it's a state in which they can give you messages. So anything you might see, colors, shapes, energies you might feel in the body, could be significant messages for you. Okay. So this is a kind of a music that's new for many people, and so it's really interesting to allow you to compare notes. So we turn this into a little workshop and see what you experience. Anything you experience could be significant. So you don't have to share, but if you would like to, then you can tell each other what this is like. So what was it like for you? Anybody? What did you feel?
Colors.
What?
Colors.
Colors. What colors?
All of them.
All of them.
Come in and out.
Yeah, wonderful. Because the colors are all significant. They have symbolism. But you're seeing all the colors. This would symbolize harmony of everything, everything working together, right? And rich and beautiful. Is that the kind of world you'd like? Because often these are answers to questions you have had recently. Okay?
I saw colors also, but they were yellow and purple.
Yellow and purple. Yellow is usually esoterically the mind. So have you been wanting to wake up your mind lately? Be more awake in your mind?
In some ways.
Okay.
Not a simple answer because I'm into yoga and Tai Chi and Qigong, but I'm studying more.
Yeah.
So in a way,
Yeah, okay. Purple is this chakra, sixth chakra, which is clairvoyance. And it could be also the violet flame of protection. This is where the Holy Mother hangs out. And when we do a suite of the chakras, she takes us on an astral trip to show us her creation, which is all the heavenly bodies. Anyway, the violet could represent that. Have you been wanting to open up your intuitions?
yes.
All right. Well, that color will help you. Okay. What else? Excuse me.
Well, I did not really feel, I didn't see anything during the music itself.
That's okay.
I was
You don't have
expecting
to.
see something, but what was completely unexpected to me, and I came with a certain level of skepticism here. The second we touched the first note, I went into shaking and I burst into tears.
Oh, did you all hear that? Speak up so everybody can hear. The minute she heard the first note, she went into shaking and
started crying immediately.
And started crying.
And I came peaceful and without any healing desire because I think I'm okay. But that totally stunned me. And sadly, I was expecting some kind of revelation. And I'm still trying to find a channel how to talk to the universe. I haven't found it yet. And maybe that's why I didn't hear the response to my question. But I'm still kind of somewhat shaking.
Yeah.
And I was there enjoying the beauty of the notes and the music more than anything.
Yeah. Well, that's true. The beauty of it is true. And there's healing in beauty. There's healing in music and art, all the arts. The beauty is healing. Yeah. Because it takes us out of the mind, takes us out of what's going on in the world, into timeless, universal values. Art does. So art is a kind of a repository for truth. You know, they always say truth and beauty, beauty and truth. Well, thank you for sharing. She started from skepticism, see? Which is okay. That's good. Okay.
The same thing happened for me, but it was before you even started the first note. You said, connect your heart to the ascended masters, and right as I did that, it was the beauty, just like Irina's saying, that just made me tear.
Ah.
It was before your hand went to
Now you see, that is very significant, because at that point you were tuning into what I'm tuning into, see? Even before I had played.
Mm-hmm.
So this shows that you can do this without me, see? We can all do this. How?
Just surrendering.
Well, I wanted to say to you, all you have to do is go into a meditation and sincerely ask. And I'm telling you, they will answer. God will answer, God will, whatever you call God. God will send an angel, God will send an ascended master. You keep asking and you will be answered. I can guarantee it. It's the law. It's the law. Okay? It might take a little persistence because you have to overcome your own doubt. And I know you have doubt because you came in here with it. That's okay? It's all right. So it just takes persistence. I was in doubt about this work. It was going to completely change my life. My income went down a little bit when I went into it, and then it's picked up. And believe it or not, I have made my living doing this work, which is very far out. I'm the only person who does past life readings with the harp in the world that I've heard of. And I have been sustained, you know, because I care about people. I'm a citizen of the world. And I know that everyone is my brother or sister. So I think, you know, if your heart's in the right place, then you get sustained because you are pro-life. See? So you'll get your answers. Now, where were we? Okay.
I had a wonderful experience. My hands were vibrating at a different rate, and then it went up into my arms, and then my whole body got warm, very warm. And then I had a vision with my mother, which was beautiful.
Uh-huh. Is there something to be resolved with your mother?
No.
No?
Perfectly at peace. So
Perfectly at peace, so it was a blessing.
It was a blessing.
Now, what do you do with your hands?
I was holding them like this. I was just holding them.
No, I mean in life, what do you do with them?
I work at a computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That can be stressful.
I hold my grandchildren.
While you're doing it?
No, but I'm saying, you know.
Oh, you hold your grandchildren?
The opposite.
Well, are your hands okay with that work?
Sometimes.
Or do they need some healing?
They do.
There's a lot of people doing computers, you know,
Yeah.
they can get carpal tunnel
Yeah.
and all this stuff. So you could use some healing on your hands. There you are. Yeah, yeah. We get what we ask for, what we need. Anybody else? You see the variety here.
I just had like a feeling like there was a circle and it just like kept going down and I was going like up.
Could you say that again? I didn't
It's
quite
like
get
a circle.
circle.
And it was like coming down on me, and I was going up.
Ah, were you
And
going?
I kept going over and over again. And then like I got little like.
It would keep coming down. Were you going into it?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Kind of a tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like a little bit of visions towards the end of like when I was little and stuff like that.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Now that could be significant for now. You know, all these. What's the past for? To learn. And often we don't learn from the past because we don't have the love, the understanding, but the subconscious holds every memory until you're ready to process it. Yeah, I use some of these things to get some of the wisdom. So think about what that would mean for you now, that memory.
Well, it was like a happy memory.
Uh-huh.
It was just it was just like when I was like really like young. It wasn't like a picture or anything. It was just kind of more like a feeling.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, people when they die, when they pass over, of course there's no death, right? It's a transition. They describe a tunnel often. So a tunnel could easily be transitioned from one plane to the next. And you are willing to go into it. And it keeps happening. So it would symbolize that there are these opportunities happening for you to go into other dimensions. And you're willing to experiment with it. If you have any doubt about it, just surround yourself with light. You know, the universe is primarily friendly. We don't think that because we live on this strife-torn planet, you know. But it's true. It's true. Anywhere you could go when you get off this planet would be friendly, unless you don't think so. Okay. All right. Who else?
I saw a waterfall and then a mountain stream and then somebody smiling with a beautiful set of teeth and then a flash of beautiful blue and yellow light.
Blue and yellow. Somebody else had yellow and purple. Yellow and blue. I'm glad you mentioned the water because in these fantasies, what does it say? 5 minutes? In these fantasies, you know, I do a whole workshop, a whole day, where I bring through the music and people have fantasies, and I help them understand the fantasies. Water is spirit in the symbology. So waterfall is a spirit. I'm sorry, it's the feminine. It's the mother. Okay, and but if it's waterfall, it's coming out of heaven, it's coming down. If it's here, it's on the earth, you know. But it's spirit, very much in terms of the mother. You know, the sea is the mother. We all came out of the sea. And then the yellow would be intellection, you know, to simulate your mind to think like, it's not the higher mind, it's not the blue like you're wearing. That's the will of God. That's the higher mind, that blue, here and on up. But the yellow is just, you know, to be able to think rapidly and quickly. And the blue is the other one. All right, that's the will of God. That's the higher soul mind. So you're wanting to blend those two. Yeah. Okay, anybody else?
Well, what occurred to me was the path is not always what you expect. What happened, I came in nice and calm, and what came up for me was anxiety and some flashes on negative thoughts in the past. And then I saw this sort of vortex like coming down the top of my head trying to get it out. And what's been up for me lately has been getting toxins out. So it feels like this last remnants of the stuff that needs to get out. I hope the last remnants, don't we all hope that? So then when you stopped, it felt like, no, wait, I'm not done yet. So for what it's worth, that's what happened to me.
Well, healing isn't always pleasant because sometimes it's getting rid of toxins. Yeah. So I guess that's what you wanted. And
Apparently.
so but also the energies, as you felt, are very powerful. If they hit something that's a blockage, which is what yours was, then you feel this. But then it helps to dislodge it. And I just say, well, call forth the violet flame to transmute it and show you what it's about. Okay, thank you so much for coming. If you want some of this music, it's here. And they all bring peace, harmony, love, healing. But they have different purposes. You can ask Seraphina. And I have a website where there are more. And also you can order an individualized healing, past life or just healing. I do them from people all over the world. They don't have to be present. So that's a possibility for you. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I do something very interesting. I'm going to tune the harp to the Overtone series, which is the equivalent in music of organic food. It's the organic scale. So if that interests you, people hear that and they say, oh, that takes me home.
Thank you. What a beautiful thing.
Have we met before?